getting ready to do the last day, I hope, of recording lessons for my course. Just 1 second, I need to log into something. If you have not watched any of these before, this is me live streaming myself recording a course. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm not very good at multitasking. Yeah, so I'm recording lessons. This is a very kind of rough version. As you'll see, I'll kind of record, go back, fix things, re-record, etc. Yeah, I'm happy to have you follow along. Just know this is not the final version of the course. And if you want to see the final version of the course, just go to the Art for the Rest of Us website. As you are watching, I'd love to know kind of who you are, where you're watching from. Feel free to put that in the chat on Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube. Any of those places will show up. If you have any questions or comments, again, put those in the chat. Happy to respond to those. Just to give you a sense, I am recording today lessons on R Markdown. So I've talked about, yesterday I was talking about inline R code and advanced YAML options. So today I'm going to talk about knitting to various formats. So I'll talk about kind of best practices in terms of knitting to Word. Actually, I just see a little typo. Let me just fix that. So I'll be talking about knitting to Word. I'm going to talk specifically about, actually, let me change one other thing. Using what are known as reference documents, which is a way to kind of apply your styles to Word. It's pretty easy, actually. I think if you're trying to simply style your material and you've used Word, which most folks have, it's kind of the easiest way to go. Then we'll talk about making your report shine in HTML. And then PDF, which I have structured as basically don't use LaTeX because I personally have never used it, so I feel a little bad saying this, but I've only ever seen horror stories from folks, and my strong sense from talking to folks is if you're starting out knitting in a different direction, specifically I think using the page down package is a really nice way to go. Yeah, and then I'll talk about some other formats, presentations. You can knit to PowerPoint, you can knit to Sharingan, dashboards using Flex Dashboard, and then I'll give kind of an overview of some other formats, Bookdown, websites, and that'll be it. Okay, let me go back to where I'm going to start today and get started. Oops, let me just leave that. Okay, I just need to start my recording. All right. Cool. We're going to switch now to talking about making your reports look good, making your reports shine when you export to various formats. We're going to start by looking at ways you can improve your reports when you knit to Word. So when you knit to Word, by default, Word, let me start that again. When you knit to Word, when you knit to Word, it will use your default styles. Let me show you what I mean. I'm back in the report that I've been working on in 3rd grade math proficiency. I'm just going to change Hillsboro, which I was using last time, to Portland SD1J for my parameter. And let me go ahead and also add Word document default. So that will enable me, in addition to knitting to HTML, I'll now also knit to Word. Let me go ahead and do that. Okay. All right, I now have a Word document here. I'm going to click it to open it. I edit out all the kind of pauses as things are knitting, things are opening, to make it much smoother in the actual course. All right. Here is my Word document, and you can see it has knitted, and the styles, the text styles here, for example, the fact that Calibri is used for this header, which let me actually check. I think that's a first level header. Let me check to make sure. Yeah, it's an H1. Take 16 bold and that kind of blue. The header 2 is this kind of slightly lighter blue. All of that is applied from the default styles in my installation of Word. Now let's say I want to change that. Let's say I want to make it use different fonts. What I have actually done is I've downloaded a document here. Hold on, let me just rename this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use what's called reference. Actually, let me show the slides real quick. What we can do is apply what's known as a reference document. What this does is it tells our Markdown, hey, when you knit this, use the styles. Don't use the default styles. Hold on, let me start that again. What we're going to do is use what's known as a reference document. What this will do is it will tell our Markdown, don't use the default styles. Instead, use the styles in this particular document. To do that, we add the reference underscore docx to the YAML under our Word document. And you can see, for example, there I have just a generic my Word template.docx. So what I've done is I actually downloaded a template. You can see here, it's called my reference document. I'll open it up. I actually downloaded this from the Word website. They have some templates. And you can see now, heading 1 is this kind of red. Title will be that black. And this is heading 2 will be this. And these are now Cambria. The regular paragraph text is Calibri 11. So let's make sure that we can make this work. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to erase default. Now I'm going to do reference underscore docx, and I need to point to this document here. So it's in my templates folder, so I'll say templates slash my reference document dot docx. Okay. Now I'll knit again. All right. Okay, I've knitted it. Let me go back here. So I've knitted, hold on. I've re-knitted my document and it shows up here. Let me now go into Word. I'm going to close this because that was the previous version. I'll go here and I'll just click it again to reopen it. Now if you take a look at my title. It's now Cambria 28. My first level header is that red and it's Cambria. You can see that the normal text is styled using using the Cambria font. Actually, the block quote is styled differently. There must be a block quote style within this. And everything has taken the styles of this reference document. All right. Now, there are many ways to create a reference document. Oftentimes, though, I find the easiest way to do it is this. Let me go back to how I had it before. Put that there. I'm going to remove my reference document and just do Word document default. I'll reknit. Okay, I've reknitted it. Let me open this up again. And now I have the default styles. So the easiest thing I think at this point is just save as. And I'll put this in my templates folder. And I'll call this DK reference document. Now what I do is I go ahead and change some of the styles. So I'm working on the title style. So I'm on a Mac. I went to Format Style. And I'll just change it now. Let's say I want to do Arial 26 bold and have it be green. I'm not suggesting this is actually good design, but you get the point. I'll change as well my header 1 and I'll make that Arial 16 and I'll make that red. Okay. And then let me change, I'll change the normal text. So style, whoops, that was not the normal text. Let me scroll down and find normal, which is how Word styles the default paragraph. So let me modify that. And I'll make this Arial 12. Okay. Now I'm going to save that. So I've saved this as DK reference document. Now let me go back here. Reference docx DK reference document dot docx. Let me make sure I got that name right. Yeah. Okay, let me knit this again. And I actually got an error here because I forgot it was in the templates folder. So I'll add that templates, knit again. Okay, that's finished knitting. Let me open up third grade math proficiency report. And now you can see I have all of my styles applied. One important thing to note is that you want to use the DocX format, not .x, which is Word's kind of template format. What that does in Word is it just, when you open a .x file, it creates a new file using that template. But with our Markdown, the reference document, we actually just want to use a regular old Word document. And our Markdown will extract the file, or excuse me, extract the styles from there and use that. All right, so I've actually done my turn. I used a reference document to change the look and feel of reports that are knitted to Word. So for your turn, I want, whoops, I still have a note to myself. Hold on one second. I'm just editing that actually in using Sharingan. For your turn, I want you to use a reference document to change. I need to change. For your turn, I want you to use a reference document to change the look and feel of your report when it's knitted to Word. Okay, I'm going to act like I'm the student now, open up their report. All right, I am in the, let me start that again. All right, I'm in the report that you are working on. I'm going to actually change this back to Hispanic/Latino. And I'm going to add output here, Word_document. Now I'm going to add reference docx. And I'm actually just going to use the one that I've created already. So I'll use, oops, DK reference document dot docx. Okay, I'm going to knit that. And of course, I forgot to add the templates, so let me add that, knit it again. Okay, I have created Oregon Diversity Report.docx here. Let me open that up. Perfect. You can see it has applied my incredibly ugly styles here. All right, I'm just going to stop recording, name my file. Okay. Okay, I'm going to minimize this. Okay, cool. Next I'm doing HTML. Just thinking about how I'm going to present this. It's pretty dark. Just 1 second. Maybe I should even just show kind of, I think there are a bunch of default. Yeah. To be honest, I usually actually end up just kind of customizing my own CSS to make my own themes, but yeah, I'll show this. Okay, let me start my recording. Next, we'll talk about making your reports shine when you knit to HTML. I have put up here screenshots from a bunch of packages that enable you to make attractive HTML documents when you knit. Let me first, though, show you how you can actually use themes within just regular R Markdown to change the look and feel. So I'm back in my report. I'm going to actually just delete Word document because I don't actually need to do that anymore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a theme here. There are a bunch of built-in themes that you can use. I'm actually looking here at the R Markdown, what's the book called? Yeah. There are a bunch of built-in themes that you can use. I'm showing you here a page from the R Markdown, the Definitive Guide book. And you can see there are various themes drawn from what's known as the Bootstrap. Let me start that again. You can see there are a bunch of themes that are drawn from the Bootstrap theme library. I could come over here and take a look at these various options. So say I like the look and feel of one of these. Say I want to do Simplex, for example. Oh wait, no, they're not all. Note that actually I don't know if that's true. Note that many of these themes are supported within R Markdown, but not all. If we take a look back here, we can see which themes are supported. So let me try, for example, Zenburn. So I'm going to copy that and I'll paste it in here, theme Zenburn. Let me go ahead and knit. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, duh, I was using the wrong thing. The available themes are here, so you can see the various valid themes. Let me use the Flatly theme. So I'll just add theme Flatly. Let me knit that. While that's knitting, I'll take a look here at Flatly and see what it looks like so we can see what to expect. You can see that the typography will look like this, block quotes will look like this, default tables will look like that, although if we're using GT, which we are, they will not take on that look and feel. All right, my report has knitted. Let me open up the HTML document. What did I do wrong? All right, what have I done wrong? bit confused. If I delete that? Let's see what happens here. Okay, why is that not? The theme not being applied. Try clearing my cache here, see if there's an issue with that. Oh, I am working in the wrong document. Yep. All right, let me delete that. Open up the right document. All right, I am going to just delete my Word document there because I don't actually need to knit to it anymore. I'll add theme flatly, and I'm going to go ahead and knit. Okay, I've knitted. Let me open up my HTML document. And you can see now it has applied the flatly style. So the fonts are different, some of the colors are different, and it takes on this theme. I will post links down below to a couple other packages that bring together some other themes that you can use. For example, there's the Pretty Doc package, which gives you some additional themes. For example, this is the Cayman theme, which will make your documents look like that. There's also the RMD formats package, which will provide some additional output formats. You can see some of these here. The package that I like the best for generating custom HTML reports is called Distill. I think it has nice typography, it's easy to read. It also has some really nice functionality in terms of being able to control the width of figures. So you can see you can have wider figures, that type of thing. So let me show you how you would make a distill document. There are two ways you can do it. I could either go to New File, R Markdown, So first, of course, if you don't have distill installed, you'll need to install it just the way you would any other package. Install that package's distill. I already have it installed, so there are kind of two things I could do. One, I could go to New File, R Markdown. Just call this report for now. And I'm going to do From Template. So I can scroll down here and find Distill Article. Hit OK. And this gives me a new YAML and kind of default template here. So I could then, well, let me actually go over here. I can then just kind of copy some stuff from here. So I could go title. Let me go ahead and save this. So I'll call this third grade math proficiency report distill. You'll notice that distill has a line right under the title. That is the description. I don't generally use that, so I'm just going to delete that. There's also, it uses this idea of authors and affiliations here. Again, I don't really use that very much, so I'll go ahead and delete that. The date will show up here. That's fine. I can just leave that. And you can see now the output is distill, distill article. So what I can do, if I want to keep some of the arguments from my YAML before, I can just copy them. Now you should note that some of them don't apply. For example, TOC float does not apply, and TOC depth do not apply to distill. But these three, for example, do apply. So I'm going to need to drop this down to the next line, indent 2 lines, and then I'll just paste those things in. And then I'll go ahead and just copy from here on down. Delete that, copy that, and let me go ahead and knit this. What did not work? Copy my parameters. I'm also going to copy the parameters in because that's used in my report. So I'll need to have that. Copy that there. Go ahead and knit. Okay, I've opened up my report here. Whoa, the PPS logo is big. We could adjust that. But you can see it's taken on that distill format. That table is a little narrow. We could use some of the functionality from distill to make that table wider. Probably want to make that a bit wider as well. But you get the idea. We've changed it using distill. The other way I could change this is by copying this here. So just as you can output to multiple formats using, say, Word and HTML, we can also output to a regular HTML document as well as a distill article. And actually, as it's knitting, I'm thinking in my head, what's going to happen? Because they're both HTML, so it's going to have the same file name. I don't know which one's going to work. I'll find out. All right, so I'm going to actually just delete the HTML stuff there. The other way that I could do this is by just copying in this distill output into the previous document that we had. So I could copy that in there. And I'm just going to delete all this HTML document output because it doesn't really apply here. So I'll delete that, and then I'll knit. Okay, for anyone who's watching live, I've actually already knitted. And you can see here's the report, same as the other way, and we have a report written out using the distill format. There is one. I will also link to the R Markdown theme gallery website, which provides some nice HTML themes. And you're going to notice there's also one here. That is actually from the page down package. That package is sort of a hybrid. It generates both HTML as well as PDF. And I'll actually demonstrate this shortly as a way to make PDFs. All right, so for my turn, I already converted my report to distill format. For your turn, I want you to change the theme of your report by adding a theme option to your YAML. You can use any of these options. All right, I am working in this report and I'm going to add a theme. I'm going to do theme readable. Just add that line, knit that. I'll now open up the HTML document. And you can see the theme applied to this document. All right, I'm going to stop knit to HTML. Stop recording. And then I'm going to start recording again. The next output format that we're going to talk about is PDFs. PDFs by default knit to a very distinctive format that when you see, you will very much recognize. I'll actually show that. You can see here the PDF version of the report that I knitted a little bit ago. I don't know what this font is, but it's very distinctive, and it is the default that you get when you knit to PDF from R Markdown. Now, there are many different, I don't know if there are many different ways, there are different ways. There are different ways to make your PDF documents a bit more distinctive. The way that until recently many people used was LaTeX, that's L-A-T-E-X. Personally, I have never used LaTeX, but I have only heard horror stories about it. Here is from a presentation by Sam Tyner about the syntax within LaTeX and how difficult it can be. A tweet from Jeff Littlejohn about troubleshooting LaTeX errors from knitting R Markdown. A nice tweet from Andrew Heiss about the most obscure and maddeningly difficult to decipher logs and messages, with LaTeX beating itself. Matt Cowgill expresses his love for LaTeX. And a beautiful book made using LaTeX with just a little error. The overall point is LaTeX, from everything I gather, is extremely difficult to use, very picky. And so I think if you're starting out, if you already know how to use LaTeX, cool, run with it. You can absolutely apply LaTeX to your PDF documents. If you don't already use it and you're looking for a way to make your PDF documents look nice, consider using the page down package. The way it works is this. Wait, that's not right. Hold on. I'll put this over here so you can see. Hold on, I think I did it wrong. What is going on here? Come on. I forget if this is if this by default gives us PDF. Let me just test this out real quick. Okay, let me refresh this. Yeah. I thought that automatically printed to PDF, but hold on. That's what I want, I think. Oh yeah, that's right. All right, now when I knit it, adding that knit line. No, that did not work. Oh yeah, no, I think that did work actually. Hold on. All right. Okay, I'm gonna undo this so it's back the way it was. Let me just reknit my slides. I want to show people kind of like this is what it looks like. Then I'm going to show the code. Then I'll do the code. Then I'll talk about this, yeah, Chrome print options. All right, just nip that. Okay, cool. Instead of LaTeX, I would suggest you consider using the page down package. The page down package first knits to HTML, and then from there it actually knits to PDF. And this is actually the instruction manual. What you're seeing is an animation of me scrolling through the instruction manual for page down, made in page down. So you see how it looks like pages? That's because it actually is. Let me show you how this works. What we do is we change the output to page down :HTML paged. And then I've added a couple other options, TOC true, and then number sections false. So you can see here, for example, each section has a number. You'll see when it gets down, 1 introduction, 2 page documents. If you don't want that, just put number sections false. You can also, what this will do, and let me actually show you. Let me actually show you what this will do if we knit to page down this HTML paged format. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to delete my output here. I'll do output paged HTML. I can knit that. For anyone watching at home, I've actually already knitted. And you can see now, here is my report, and it looks like it's on pages because, in fact, it is when we convert it to PDF. Now, I will say by default, I don't think this is the most attractive. It has that same, whatever that ugly font is. There are ways to customize it, though, using CSS, which I think is a much more commonly known skill at this point rather than LaTeX. If you've done anything on the web, you've likely used some CSS. So here, for example, is a this report knitted to the page down HTML document. Now you might be wondering, wait a second, I thought we were knitting to PDF. Well, we are. And there are actually 2 ways to do that from page down. The first is this. See the yellow line highlighted here? I've added a line, knit : page down : Chrome print. What that will do is it will first knit to HTML, and then it will convert your HTML document to a PDF. Let me show you how this works. All right, so I'm back in my report. Let me add a line here. No indentation, just right at the left edge. Knit page down Chrome print. And I'll go ahead and knit that. I've actually already done this, so I'll just go ahead and open my PDF. All right, now I have a PDF here. Let me open that up. And here is my PDF report. So it has converted that HTML into pages. Make it just a little bit bigger. And again, I recognize this by itself is not necessarily the most attractive. It's even actually causing some issues in terms of my table here. There are ways to get around that. There are things to do like adding page breaks. The documentation is pretty good for this package, so I would take a look at that to figure out how you might adjust it. Just to give you a sense of what page down is capable of, this is a template that I made. Just to give you a sense of what's possible, this is a template made with page down. It was made for a client that I work with called the Omni Institute. And this is a PDF version of their report template. You can see it's got table of contents. Everything follows their style guide. It's got first level headers, second level headers, pull quotes, lists, third level headers, chart titles, etc. One other really neat thing that you can do with the page down package is you can take any HTML document and convert it into a PDF. Here we have you can see the code here to do this. I load the page down package and then I use the Chrome print function to convert to a PDF. So let me do this actually, and I'm going to do it by working in the project that I have actually used to make slides for this course. This is the course project. You can see this is the R Markdown document that I've used to make slides using the Sharingan package, which I'll actually show you in a future lesson. So let me convert these slides-R Markdown into a PDF. They live in the slides directory and they're called slides-rmarkdown.html. So let me load page down, and I'll just do it in the console because I'm just doing it one time. So Chrome print slides /slides.rmarkdown.html. You run that, and it'll take just a second to generate that PDF. That's weird. Not actually inspiring confidence. Let me actually. Wait, it's going now. Yeah, actually, I'm just updating page down to make sure I have the latest version. Okay, that. Oh wait, now it's going. Just gonna restart my session. Weird. I've never had issues with this. Let me try doing it for just a different set of slides and see if that works. Huh, okay, that didn't work. I'm actually just going to skip that then because I don't want folks to run into issues. So let me actually update my slides. Actually, maybe I'll just mention it. All right, so I'm actually having trouble getting this to work, which is strange because I never have had issues before. So in theory, this is how it should work. As you can see, it's not actually working, but I have used this to generate slides of my previous course, Fundamentals of R, in this way. Okay. All right, so for my turn, I already did this. I converted my report to page down. Then I want you to do the same thing, convert your report to page down. All right, I am in this report. I am going to convert this to page down. So I'll do page down, paged. Actually, I need to look. I forget what it's called. I'm going to actually just cheat by grabbing from my report. So I'll copy that in, HTML paged. The reason this is called HTML page actually is there are a number of other formats you can knit to. You can create like resumes, CVs, other things using the page down package. So this is just one of the options. In any case, I can go ahead and knit that. Okay. So when I knit that, all I get is my HTML document here. If I refresh this, you can see now this has been converted. So you can see now this has been converted into the page down format. One way actually to convert this to PDF if you wanted to would be just to hit print and then save to PDF. That would work. The other way, of course, is to add knit. And again, I'm just going to copy from here because I don't ever actually remember. Page down Chrome print. And you can see now I have a PDF down here. And I open it up, and there is my report. Okay, let me look at what I have next. Presentations, dashboards, and then just kind of a tour of other formats. Folks, I'll be right back. I just need to run and grab something. All right, sorry about that, folks. I am back now. Let me hit record. Okay, I'm just thinking about how to say this. One other thing you can do with R Markdown is you can actually knit to presentation formats. I'm going to show you a couple. One of the most common, PowerPoint, that you're going to be familiar with from using, I assume, PowerPoint in some context. And then there's also a package called Sharingan, which knits to HTML, and it's actually the package that I'm using to create the slides that you're looking at right now. So to create a PowerPoint presentation, when you go to New R Markdown Document, in the Presentation section, there is an option for PowerPoint. Let me actually... So I'm in this project. I could go to New File R Markdown, Presentation, and you can see there is PowerPoint. You'll note that it gives you just this output PowerPoint presentation. So I could also and additionally, if you take a look down below, you'll see that this is the down below, you'll see the default content that it adds, and I could knit this, which will force me to save it. Just call it PowerPoint. It'll knit. And you can see now down here, I have a PowerPoint document. All right, so here is the PowerPoint that I generated, slides, and you can see every time I have a second level header, that makes a new slide. Actually, let me check that. I'm not entirely sure. You can see that this presentation has a new slide every time there is a second level header. So for example, R Markdown is a second level header, shows up here. Slide with bullets, that's from here. There's some specifics in terms of how it generates new slides depending on the section headers. I'll link to that in the Learn More section. but just know that you can actually create PowerPoints this way. Another package that I like to use is called Sharingan. And I like to use it because it just integrates really nicely within our Markdown and enables you to show code, to show output figures, that kind of thing. So for my turn, let me show you how I can convert my report to Sharingan. All right, so I am going to change the output up here. I'll delete that. And of course, you're going to need to install the Sharingan package if you don't already have it installed. So the format we're going to use is Sharingan_moon_reader. I'll just use that by default. Let me go ahead and knit that. And let me refresh this now and see what it looks like. Oops, that didn't work. Oh, I'm in the wrong document every time. All right, let's convert this into a Sharingan presentation. So I'm going to delete that. And then the format that I'm going to use is Sharingan:_moon_reader. I'll delete this other stuff for now. There are different options we can use. The most important thing to note with Sharingan is that to make a new slide, we add 3 dashes like that. So I'll make a new slide. I'll have the introduction slide. And actually, I will put this PPS logo will be on its own slide. Now, I will say the table is going to look kind of funky because it's pretty long. Oh, no, I take that back. It's only 10, so it actually should be okay. Yeah, so I think that should be okay if it's on its own slide. Let me see. I'll put a new slide here. And then on the next slide, it'll show just this graph. All right, let me go ahead now and knit that. All right, I have now refreshed my HTML document, and you can see now it is slides. There is the logo, introduction. My table, it doesn't quite fit, so I might need to make some changes to how that shows up. But you get the idea that you could put a table on there. You could have this figure show up here. Probably need to adjust the figure width to make it show up and not get cut off. But again, you get the idea. You can pretty easily, just by adding the breaks for new slides, convert a written report into a presentation. So for your turn, I want you to convert your report to either PowerPoint or Sharingan and knit it to slides. If you do knit to Sharingan, you'll need to make some adjustments to your formatting to make it work. For example, adding those 3 dashes for new slides. Where is my too many? There we go. All right, so let's convert this to Sharingan. I think Sharingan is a better option in terms of what you're able to do with it. There are also packages that I'll show in the Learn More that enable you to kind of change the look and feel, give you kind of themes for Sharingan, which you don't necessarily have in PowerPoint, although you can use reference documents. Although I believe you can use reference documents. I should just look that up. Yeah. You can also, using PowerPoint, use reference documents in the same way that we did with Word. But personally, I like the Sharingan package a lot. So let me go ahead and change this to Sharingan Moon Reader. I'll delete this knit line. Then I'll just add, let's see, add a break there. I'll actually add a break before, a slide break before the introduction line. Show our table here. And then we'll show this figure here. Let me go ahead and just adjust this to make sure it fits. So I'll do fig width equals, I don't know, 10. All right, let me knit this. All right, I am showing the report here. Let me refresh this, and you can see now it's been converted into slides. Got the logo, introduction. Interesting. Actually, it looks like the footnotes don't actually work exactly the same in Sharingan. Something I didn't know. Personally, I don't actually ever use footnotes in slides, so you might need to make some small adjustments there. There's our table. Actually shows up pretty decently here. I should actually, if I were doing this again, I would just separate these out into 2 code chunks and have them each show up on a slide, but you can get the idea. You can show images on your slide rendered from code. Okay, let me rename my file now. Okay, let me restart my recording. Another format that you can knit to is dashboards. There's a package called Flex Dashboard, which makes this fairly straightforward. You can see some examples here of Flex dashboards. So I'm actually in the examples page here. I can just open up one of them. Hold on, I'm going to do it. I've opened up one of the example Flex dashboards here. There are a number of different layouts, different chart types, etc. that you can use. Let's just make a really simple one. So you can see from the instructions here, when we make a new Flex dashboard, we're just going to change the output to Flex dashboard : Flex _ dashboard. Okay. Then there's all sorts of stuff you can do in terms of the layout. And on the layouts page, there are all sorts of examples for how you can have charts, whether they align vertically, whether they align horizontally, etc., whether you use multiple pages. For right now, though, I'm just going to do as simple as possible. I'm just going to do the default layout. All right, so for my turn, I'm going to convert my report to a dashboard. And I feel almost bad, like I went through that really quick. But the reality is to convert your R Markdown document into all of these different formats only takes really kind of changing the output. And then from there, just making some minor tweaks so that it fits within the context of whatever format you're outputting to. All right, so I have my, oops, that's not what I want. That's my distill. Let me delete those. All right, I am working in my report now, and I'm going to do Flex Dashboard : Flex Dashboard. Actually, I need to check something. Let me go ahead and knit this and let's see what it looks like if we don't do any customization. All right, I am back in my report. Let me refresh that. And you can see now it's converted into a dashboard. However, you'll see, for example, introduction is actually like a tab. It's a separate page. The thing with Flex dashboards is you actually have to use third level headers to indicate kind of sections in the layout. So for example, each chart, you can see chart 1 is a third level layout, chart 2 is a third level layout. So let's just switch that. So I'll go down here and I will make that a third level layout, and also I can delete the 3 lines there. And let me add the, I don't know, I'll just call this growth chart. Let me also delete those 3 lines there, and I think that should be good. One more delete there. Let me show you what happens when I knit this. So I'll go back here, I'll refresh, and you can see I'm starting to get a dashboard. Now, okay, this is definitely not right because it's like way too small. So we can adjust this using our advanced YAML techniques from before. So for example, I could do fig width is, I don't know, 10, fig height 8. Let me go ahead and knit that. That's not right. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, I think maybe I need to do it. Yeah, I think. Let me try this. Okay, let me go back here. What am I doing wrong here? I think I need to, I don't actually use this a ton. Yeah. That's right, that's right. All right, so to adjust the height here, we're going to need to make some changes in our Flex dashboard. So we're going to go here. The way it works is slightly different. Like I was originally thinking I would do something like this, like maybe change it in the setup code chunk, or maybe even change it like up here in our YAML, like fig height 10, something like that. That doesn't actually work though. The way we have to do it is this. We go down to whatever code chunk it is, and we set the height and width individually. So let me go down, for example, to this chart. And you use the data height and data width. I think there's a And here we're going to add the height in this way. We'll do data height equals, and this will define the height in pixels because that's what screens use. So say I want it to be 750 pixels. Then I can also define the width. So I could do data width equals 750 as well. Let me knit that. Oops, I forgot to add commas. Let me knit that. Oh wait, maybe I can only add one. Oh, it's, wait. All right, let me get this right before I do anything else. There we go. Let me actually make sure that works. Like column, not rows. I think. Maybe I need to set the orientation to be rows. Hold on, let me do that. Oh, I think maybe I need to change now. So this is a row. Maybe I need to change it to scroll. No, it's already scrolling. Let me knit that. don't know why it took away the kind of boxes. Hold on. Let me just knit that the way it was. I want to just look at it again for a second. Okay. That makes sense because it's not actually the code chunk that I want to make bigger. Well, it is, but it's within a row. So vertical, or what is it? Just see now if I add this like there. Basically, if I add it everywhere, will that make each section taller? There we go. Okay, okay. All right, let me remove all that. All right, so looking at our report here, there are a number of things we might want to change, mostly related to the height of each of these, right? They're kind of small. So let's think about how we can do that. With Flex Dashboard, it works on the idea that you're either arranging your code chunks, the output of your code chunks, in columns or in rows. So ours are in rows by default, and what we want to do is we want them to be taller. So we need to do a couple things. And I'm drawing this from the layouts page. They're a really nice set of examples here to walk you through this. The first thing that I want to do is this, which I have highlighted, vertical layout scroll. So I want to make it, it's already doing this, but I want to make sure it keeps doing this. Actually, I'm not sure if it's doing this. Right now you can see it goes the height of the screen, but I want it so that the user will keep scrolling no matter how tall the output is. So I'm going to change this vertical layout equals scroll. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to tell it to use orientation rows. Okay? Because I want the charts just to be laid out in rows. In other words, I don't want them to be laid out next to each other in columns. You could do something like that. That would be columns. So I'll copy that. Whoops. I'll do orientation rows. Now what we need to do, I'll go back to where I was, is you can see we can add this row and then the dashes to indicate, hey, this is a new row. So let me go into here. And you'll note that it adds this data height equals. That'll set the height for the row. And that's in pixels because that's what we're using on a screen. So I'll make this smaller. 300 is fine. Yeah, I'll do 300 there. I'm just kind of like making up some numbers. We'll see. This chunk is going to have the table. It's going to be a little bigger. So yeah, let's leave it 650. And then this chunk will have that chart. And let's make it also 650. All right, let me knit this. All right, so I'm refreshing this page, and you can see now that the height has changed. Right, so we still, our image is still cut off, but the overall kind of, the chunk that it's in is bigger. So I could now change, for example, the figure width here, and it would show up wider. Let me actually do that. So I'll do fig width equals 10. And I believe that's still working in inches. All right, I'll go back here. Let me refresh this. And you can see now it's wider. So you actually kind of have to set the width in two places. You have to set the width of that kind of bounding like chunk that it's in. And let me say that again. You actually have to do that in two places. You have to set the width for the entire kind of frame here. And then you also can set the width for the individual plot that's being produced. And I could do the same thing up here if I wanted to make my table wider. No, actually that wouldn't work because it's a table, it's not a plot. There's some other things I might want to change here. You know, using footnotes doesn't really make sense in this context. Obviously you can make changes. That's getting cut off, so we might want to make it a little bigger. You know, we might want to use a different layout, but you get the idea that you can pretty straightforwardly create a dashboard. Hello, Mohammed. Yes. I'm going to get you an answer. And just FYI, Mohammed, that these lessons are actually then put together as part of a course. So I edit this down, like all the time that I spent on this current lesson fumbling around, I'll edit down into a more digestible size. It'll be much smoother, obviously, than all the fumbling around that I've done. And let me actually get... Whoops, sorry. That was me opening the page on my website where I was talking. So let me actually also just post the link to the course, which will be released not next week, but the week after that. All right, for your turn, I want you to now convert your report into a dashboard using Flex Dashboard. Oops, wrong project. All right, I am in this report and I'm going to convert this into a dashboard. So I'll do flex dashboard : flex dashboard. And what I'm thinking is I want this to be, actually, I'm just going to open up my document here. I'll do the same thing. So use rows, have it scroll vertically. Let me just copy this. All right, so I'll make a new row before the image shows up. Let me delete that. Delete that. So the table will show up in one of these sections. And actually, I'll make that bigger. I'll make that 500 pixels tall. Delete this. This is where we're going to see the first plot that we made. And then actually, I'll make a new row where we'll show the second plot. So we'll make that one 500 and we'll make that one 500. All right, let me knit this. All right, I'm going to refresh this. Okay, something did not go right. What did I do wrong? row showed it's weird. The text row showed up here, and the text row showed up there, but I don't actually want. What have I done wrong? It looks fine to me. I'm a bit confused. To add a space there. I didn't do it on the other one. I'm quite confused as to why. Got rows. Why is this not working? And I don't get why it's only showing that text row in a couple places. Oh, I know what I did wrong. So the other thing I have to do, of course, is I need to change my headers to be third level headers. So let me add here, table of growth. Not a very good title, but growth chart. And then down here, I'll add, I don't know, growth chart, growth dumbbell chart. All right, let me knit this again. Go back here. There we go. So that's too small. I should probably make that taller. But you can see, okay, we got table here, growth chart. That looks good. I probably want to adjust it to make it a little wider. Growth dumbbell chart shows up here. Now, obviously, I've just showed you a very basic dashboard, but take a look at the layout page and look at other ways you can make them more complex. Okay, I think I'm going to power through, and I just want to record this last lesson. Okay, yeah. So hopefully you're starting to see that you can knit your R Markdown documents to a huge range of output formats. I want to just show you a couple others to give you a sense of what else is possible. You can knit our Markdown project to Bookdown. This is an example of a project I've started called How I Use R. It's created as a Bookdown project. If you've read R for Data Science online, that is also a Bookdown project. It just allows you to kind of recreate the format of a book with kind of table of contents on the left side, chapters, that type of thing. So if you have a long report, this is a really nice way to break it up. You can also create websites. This is an example of a website that I made for a client. It's actually using the distill template. So you can make an individual page using the distill format that we talked about in the HTML knitting lesson, or you can make an entire website with a navigation bar and multiple pages. There's also the idea of using what's called Blogdown, which is a package for making websites. I have never actually made a website using Blogdown, but Allison Hill, who you can see here, does a lot of teaching on how to use Blogdown. It's a really nice way to get your work out there, to create either a personal site or a site that shows research findings. So definitely check out Blogdown. In particular, check out Allison Hill's materials on how to get started. So for my turn, I'm just going to show you how to convert your report to Bookdown. The websites are fantastic. I'm going to leave those to you to explore to determine whether it's a direction you might want to go. Bookdown is relatively straightforward and I think a really useful format to knit to if you have a longish report. All right, so for, hold on, I need to look at this up real quick. All right, we're going to need to make some changes. First of all, I'm going to get rid of the rows because that obviously doesn't really apply to Bookdown. I think I've got, no, more. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm working in the wrong document like always. All right, let's convert this to Bookdown. The first thing I'm going to do is just delete these rows because obviously rows doesn't make sense in the context of Bookdown. So I'm going to delete these. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the output format and I'm going to change it to Bookdown, get book. That output format, that get book, is this. So this is R for data science. It has the table of contents on the side, and then the main content here allows you to go through sections like this, as well as use the table of contents to click through to parts of the page, as well as use the table of contents to click through to parts of the book. All right, so I have made that. Now what I need to do, I need to adjust the output, the levels of my headers. I made them all third level headers to work with Flex Dashboard, but let's say I want these to all be first level headers. And this doesn't entirely make sense because really I just have a couple charts, but you'll get the idea when I knit this. All right, let me go ahead and knit this. All right, I'm back here. Oops. All right, I'm back here. This is the last version I knitted to, the Flex dashboard. Let me refresh this. Oh, right, it makes new files. Now, if I go back to where we were before and refresh it, you can see it says file not found. What happens when we make an R markdown, when we convert R markdown to, what happens when we knit to the Builtin get book format is it actually makes new pages. So you can see now it's made 3 new HTML pages. Let me open up one of these. And you can see this is the very top level of our document. I can go to the next page, and that takes us to growth from 2017 to 2018. I can go to the next page, and that shows this growth chart. Sorry, I got a very itchy nose today. All right, so anytime it finds a top-level header, it makes a new page. Now, it also does this. So, example, second level header, lorem ipsum, type that. All right, let me knit this again. Let me go back to here. And you can see now, if I go to the introduction, it makes the second level header indented. And you can see now, when I go to the introduction, it now has example second level header, which is a second level header, and it's indented here to indicate that it's a subheader of this kind of chapter. Now there's all sorts of additional options, and I'll link to the Builtin documentation. There are all sorts of ways you can customize this. But even if all you do is just change the output to Builtin get book, you'll get a really nice report that's divided up into chapters that's really easy to share with folks you want to see it. All right, so for your turn, I want you to do the same thing, convert your report to Builtin. All right, I am back in my report here. I'm going to change my output format to Builtin get book. I'm going to delete all this row stuff here. Delete that. All right, and let me look. I'm actually going to pop this open so I can see. Okay, I got introduction. Make that a first level header. Let me have a second page. It's just called like growth data. Table of growth will be a second level header. Growth chart will be a second level header. And growth dumbbell chart will be a second level header. All right, I can knit this. And I'm now showing my Builtin project here. I've got introduction, and then in chapter 2, growth data, I've got my table, And then I have my two charts. All right, let me just see. Okay, cool. That is actually it. I'll obviously add some kind of wrap-up materials at the end, but that's actually it for now. So I don't know if anyone is still watching, but if you are, I appreciate you following along. I'll be working on editing the materials the rest of this week and next week, and it'll be released June 1st. It is available. The course is 33% off if you purchase it before June 1st. So if you're interested, that would be a good time. Now would be a good time to do that. Yeah, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me on Twitter or by email, david@rfortherestofus.